Train Lover 1974 presents Golden Spookily Encounters. It was October on now in the Sodor. The engines were working hard as to keep up with the October busyness, especially since Halloween would be approaching. The spooky season was next. At Titmuth's sheds one evening, the engines were wanting to get ready for a good night of telling spooky stories. Alright, tonight it is evening, as you all know. Well, no, Doug, Gordon, the sun's going down because our planet is going down, you dummy. I am so sick of you, Thomas. But if Thomas had not rudely interrupted me, is that it is nearing Halloween. So this means we can start telling spooky stories. Does anyone have any good stories? Oh, me. James, I swear, if you're trying to retell Edward's story about Ginty, I swear. What about me? Are you gonna just tell that story about how you apparently encountered the ghost of Ginty at Barrow? I'll keep quiet. Good. And plus, where's Percy? Percy had to take the mail trainer so this way he wouldn't have to take it tonight. When? Beep, beep! Sorry, I'm late. A signal broke and after delivering the mail, a signal broke and I had to wait. Of course, signals. Anyway, Edward, you can tell your story. Thank you, Gordon. Then, what's the story about, Edward? This story takes place in the early years of the Northwestern Railway, way before you came, Thomas, back when I first came to the railway. Woo! Do tell. Alright. This story takes place in Sodor's earliest years, back when it was just me and a few engines running the railway. This was the early years. I had just arrived on the railway and became the railway's new express engine. The Northwestern Railway had just formed, and we were able to purchase a few engines to help out. Such as Lady, for an example. Wait, Lady worked there? She was from the Wellsworth and Sudbury Railway, and then was given to us after the Wellsworth and Sudbury Railway was given to the Northwestern. She became our engine. She mostly helped out at the yards, helping shunt around and including at dockyards. We also had another tank engine that helped out with the heavy goods work as I was kept needed for the express a lot. I didn't mind pulling goods. It was just because I was so busy with the express I didn't have time to take goods. His name was Markland. He was a German tank engine that was loaned to us from Germany. Now this was after the First World War, so this meant was that there weren't really tensions between us. Plus, he was a nice tank engine. He always whistled to us and said hello, including at the sheds we would talk to him. Things were going really well. But then, the passenger and goods traffic started building up again. I couldn't handle all the passengers, and Markland couldn't handle all the heavy goods work he was getting, and Lady was running out, and the yards were getting too crowded for Lady to handle. Especially when she was starting to wear out, because she was much older than me and Markland. So, Sir Topham Hatt the First, back then the first Fat Controller, or Sir Topham Hatt, had purchased a tank engine from the Great Western Railway, an experimental from what I remember. One day, as me and Markland were chatting as I was waiting at a signal to head off with the express, Sir Topham Hatt then came in. Lady also came up after she was just shunting a bit in the yards. That's when we saw it. A small Great Western tank engine entered the yards. Engines, this is Sam. He's one of the brand new engines from the Great Western Railway, an experimental engine. The Great Western Railway loaned him to us to help us get back on our feet a bit, including as to test to see if this class of steam locomotive is what they need for their railways. So, make him feel welcomed, and Sam, your first job is to head over to the yards and pick up Markland's heavy goods coal train. Markland, you can go have a rest for a bit. Thank you. Guten Tag, thank you, Sir Topham Hatt. No problem, Markland. See you all later. Night, Marklin. Now, of course it wasn't night, but Marklin was going to go have a rest. Anyway, Mean Lady looked at Sam. Sam seemed like a nice engine. Hello, Sam. I'm Edward. I'm Lady, and that engine that you saw left was Markland. Stupid German tank engine. Excuse me? I said he's a stupid German tank, and I don't know how you guys are friends with him after what they did during the First World War. Whoa. The First World War ended a couple of years ago. It's time we start getting along with everybody. I understand is that there might be some tensions with engines with German engines, since what they did during the First World War, but that was then. We can't change the past. This is the present. Isn't. Anyway, like I said, I'm Edward, that's Lady, and that engine you saw was Markland. You just said that. I know, I was just trying to get you reacquainted. Now, go pick up the heavy coal train. Coal train? Why can't I be pulling splendid coaches like those? I was built for passenger work, you know. I'm sorry, but you were also built for goods work, too. You are an experimental engine, after all, so this meant is that you could be for both. Ha! Fine. But I won't enjoy it. So what do you think, Lady? I think this is gonna probably end in disaster. I do hope not. Little did we know it would. Sam was a reckless engine. He constantly sped down hills with heavy goods train. The trucks would sometimes push him, but he didn't care as he stormed by me one time as I was waiting on a stick to go to Bolton Express. Also, he was very rude. Lady one day was resting at a station when Markland was backing in pulling some heavy coal cars. I was just leaving the express, so I didn't see much of it. But one lady said he bumped her so hard is that he ended up derailing some of the trucks, trapping her in the yard, even derailing her herself. You stupid engine! You just caused an accident! Ha! said Sam as he puffed away. What a rude engine. Anyways, after the First World War ended, the military wanted all ammunition that was on like Sudrian grounds or anywhere that ammunition should belong to be returned to the military base. This was going to do at night, just in case if there were any, spies or anything or people that might try to steal the ammunition. I was originally meant to take the train since I was more experienced with pulling ammunition, since I was much older. But the ROD wanted to test out the experimental tank engine, Sam, since they wanted to see how he would do pulling heavy trains, including to see if maybe this is a type of engine they would need in the military. Markland felt honored by this to be requested by the military himself to pull the train. Soon, Lady had to get the train ready. But there was a problem. After the crash, Lady had damaged her cylinder. This meant she couldn't move. So, I would have to be asked to shunt the train. But, little did I know, this would end in tragedy. What happened? Said Thomas. Well, it's not pretty to talk about. Tell us what happened, please. Alright, if you persist, I will say it. But I'm going to tell you this, is that don't be surprised if you're shocked by what happens in the end. (1929). I was preparing. This was a year before Thomas came to the railway. I was shunting the heavy ammunitions train to be readied and then taken to the ROD, or military base on the mainland. The train was heavy, and I knew this, but I felt slightly concerned, especially how there was a load of dynamite, including fuel, on board the train. Sam, though, on the other hand, didn't care. Hurry up, Edward. I don't have all night. I have to get this train to the ROD. You know, Sam, you should be careful while pulling this train. Ammunition is nothing to mess around with, especially since you have fuel on board your train. Pfft, fuel isn't gonna do anything. Tell that to some of the engines who died during the First World War in air raids. Some of them didn't even make it out alive. Some were even killed pulling ammunition trains like this one. Pfft, that's stupid. I could probably handle this just fine. Fine then. But don't say I didn't warn you. "Huh," said Sam, as he puffed away. Soon, Sam coupled up to the train. Lady had just been repaired, and he was shunting some of the coal cars away. "Hurry up, lazy engine. Don't call me lazy. And you're kind of stupid." "Oh, what makes you say that?" "Well, at least I didn't back myself into a siding." "Wait, what?" "Oh, son of a biscuit!" "I knew you would mess up, you old antique." "That's enough. Sam, if you want to be so useful, get the train going." Soon the guard's whistle blew. Shh. Whatever. I can still hear... For some reason, I'm hearing ravaged dogs right now. Now, the reason why he said that was because there were some dogs in the background barking. Okay. It turned out from what I found out from my driver, was that they were fighting over a pound of meat. Why would you need to tell us that? I don't know, just to add to the story. Sam puffed down the line. From what the guard said, he kept bumping and bashing the trucks. He was going at dangerous speeds as well. His driver and fireman were telling him, slow down, Sam. You're gonna cause an accident." "Pah! Who cares? I will never crash. I'm the most experienced engine on this railway. Nothing's gonna happen." A few hours later. At the yards, me and Lady were just helping arrange a lot of the coal trucks back into place and everything. That's when we heard a big explosion. It was so powerful, and the shockwave too, it hit all the way over where I was. Even Lady heard it, and we were all the way in Knapford Yards. Soon, the yard manager, "Get the breakdown train, quickly! The fire department will be on their way to that scene." "What's going on?" said my driver. "An engine on its way to the mainland, pulling heavy ammunition train, has exploded outside Trevor's orchard. Outside the orchard. The driver and fireman have been killed, including the guard has been extremely injured. What's worse is the orchard is burning right now. Firemen are on their way currently." I felt a cold chill run through my boil after hearing that. I quickly went to go pick up the breakdown train. Lady was wondering what was going on, but I told her that I'll be back, as I ran down the line with the breakdown train. I soon arrived at the scene, and I was horrified. The sight was terrible. Trucks laid everywhere on fire. One of the shed, what would soon be Trevor's shed in the future, was completely destroyed. And the remains of Sam were nowhere to be seen. All that was left on the ground was a number 4 plate. I then said, "I warned him to be careful. I warned him, but he just took no notice." So, what happened afterwards? Well, the fire was put out, but the orchard was extremely burnt. Thankfully, all of the stuff was removed, including it was checked the grounds to make sure there was no ammunition left around. Thankfully, there was none. But what happened to Sam? As I said in the story, was that he was completely destroyed. The impact killed him instantly, as the explosion happened in the first van, which was right next to his cab, which was the reason why the driver and fireman were killed instantly. Although, the guard thankfully survived, though, and he still told the story until 1940 when he passed away. How come? He passed away of cancer. Oh, that's horrible. It is. Currently there are only a few people who still know about what happened to him. But he's mostly remained forgotten because there were no memorials built for him. How come? Because nobody really remembered him. The Great Western Railway, after finding this out, didn't want to continue building his class, as worried from the press saying one of their tank engines had exploded an ammunition train. So instead, they decided to go with a different design. A much more bigger and plus stronger tank engine than he was. Including it was found that there were design flaws with him. Design flaws? Such as is that his boiler couldn't handle a lot of pressure. Unlike our boilers, we could handle a bit more pressure than usual, but they can't handle a lot. His boiler was way too small and couldn't handle too much pressure, which had a poor steaming ability on him. That night when he was going fast, I'm surprised how his boiler didn't explode. But I will tell you this. Every night, on every cold, damp night in October, you can see Sam puffing down the line, trying to deliver the ammunition train. He never does, though. That sounds scary. This is just as fake as that Ginty story. Oh, that's priceless, that word. I wouldn't say that, Gordon. Why would I care? That Sam engine sounded like an idiot. You know, Sam never really took kindly to rude engines. I forgot to mention that in the story. He never took kindly to people being rude to him, even though he was rude to others. Whatever. Anyway, I don't have time for this. Thank you for the story, Edward, but I don't have time. I have to get to the Midnight Express. See you later. Henry and Edward shared worried looks, worried that Gordon might not return the same engine. Soon, Gordon arrived at the station. He coupled up to the coaches and was preparing to set off for Barrow-in-Furness. Ghost engines. Pah! This is just as fake as that time that Henry said he saw Ginty's ghost from last year. That ghost doesn't even exist either. I've never seen him even as I entered Barrow. Soon the guard's whistle blew. Woo! And Gordon thundered away with the express. Gordon thundered down the line. The rails hummed, and the coaches clattered behind him. The moon was full, and Gordon was making great time. But as Gordon was approaching near a bridge, he noticed something up ahead. He noticed a small tank engine sitting on the track. Oi! Get out of my way! But the engine didn't move. Get out of my way! Driver, brakes! Gordon's driver slammed on the brakes, and just as Gordon almost approached him, he turned around and started ramming toward him. Get stuff! The passengers were confused. Gordon, what's wrong? There was an engine. A green tank engine in front of me. Where'd he go? He just ran at me. What are you talking about? There's no engine. Come on, Gordon. We could sit. We could continue. I'll let you have a drink at the. I'll let you have a drink at Baron Furness. You're probably just thirsty. Gordon couldn't explain what he had just seen. Or he didn't want to find out what he had just seen. Soon, Gordon arrived at Baron Furness. A bit late, but still, he was thankful he got his passengers home. He then noticed in the yards, noticing the docks. Then he remembered about Jindy's story. Ghosts aren't real, right? Gordon felt a bit uneasy, especially after he thought he encountered that ghost near Gordon's his hill. Then, all of a sudden, he heard a unfamiliar whistle. What was that? That's when Gordon was almost in tears as he saw a black tank engine puff down the rails, having old British Rail logos, and his name was Jinty. He approached near the harbor, and then, with a shrieking scream, a huge splash. Gordon knew instantly. Jinty! The stories are true! Suddenly, Gordon's guard blew his whistle and Gordon pulled out of the station. Whoa, Gordon, whoa! Get me out! Get me out of here! Gordon soon was passing by Vickerstown. Gordon couldn't prove it, but he could have sworn just as he passed by the small yard near Vickerstown. He could have sworn he saw two tank engines sitting in the yard. One with broken boiler and a green paint and a black tank engine. Gordon didn't care to continue thundering down the line, not looking back once. Soon, Gordon arrived back at Knapford. Gordon uncoupled from the coaches and went back to the sheds. Just wanting to get into the sheds after witnessing what he had just seen. Edward and Henry were still awake at Titmuss Sheds. They were just chatting with each other while the other engines were asleep. Percy had already left back for the Farquhar branch line, as James was asleep and Thomas was too. Soon, Gordon then pulled in. Hey, Gordon, how was your run? Gordon didn't say a word as he backed in. Edward and Henry then looked at his face, noticing how pale he was. Then, Henry asked a question. Did you see Jinty? And did you see Sam? Gordon then gave a quiet whisper, saying, yes. Henry and Edward looked at each other, and then Henry told them the truth. Gordon, I really did see Jinty's ghost last year. I just said the story was made up just to not scare you guys. Edward was the only one who knew it was real. You did? Yes. The story was true about Jinty from last year, including about this one too, about Sam. Henry looked at Gordon, then he looked at Edward. Well, I can clearly see we've both learned our very good lessons. Even though ours were a year apart from each other, I feel like we have learned our lesson. Gordon could only agree, including with Edward. Even though Edward didn't do anything, he could understand that Henry and Gordon did learn their lessons. Henry learned his from last year. Gordon learned his this year. I just hope is that you two will never make the same mistake next year. Gordon could agree, as then he backed into the sheds and gave him a good night's rest. Not knowing what he didn't know if it was just the mist playing tricks on him, or maybe he was low on water. But he'll never forget this night. about seeing Sam and Jinty's ghost. On